with the recent changes in Bank of England base rate as well as their forecast. Is it good to go for a 2-year deal or is it good to go for a 5-year deal? That's a common question that people ask me. But this is not 100% related to the Bank of England base rate decisions or their forecast. It mainly depends on you as well because it depends on your circumstances. If your circumstances are going to change in a very short period of time, 2-year deal might be better for you. But if it's going to not change for a while, 5 years may be okay. But forecast is always forecast. Bank of England tomorrow can make a different decision. No one has control over that. So therefore, you need to consider loads of other factors before you make that decision. So what's an agreement in principle and why is it crucial? A lot of people ask me this question. Agreement in principle or decision in principle is the same thing. In principle, the bank tells you how much you can borrow on your mortgage, but that depends on how truthful you have been to the bank. So when you are getting your agreement in principle, it is utmost important that you divulge everything right. So if you are speaking to a mortgage broker, they will ask you a lot of questions, answer it honestly and accurately so that you get the right outcome at the end, because no one wants to be disappointed at the end. So what are the other costs that you need to factor when you buy a property? First thing is there's likely to be a survey and the bank will do a survey. Some banks charge for it and some banks don't. You might want to do a private survey, so that will cost you money as well. You got to pay solicitor fees, that will cost you money. Moving fees, there is always a moving cost involved. So all your goods that you have at home, please make sure you clear off everything because moving does cost a lot of money. And of course, always leave that additional bit because when you move into the house, your boiler might not work, there might be problems with the electrics, so you may have to factor for those as well, right? So it's not just the deposit that you need to look at, there are other factors that you may need to consider. And an important consideration is stamp duty. If you exceed certain thresholds, you have to pay stamp duty. So plan for that because I've heard horror stories where people think they don't have to pay stamp duty and they get surprised at the end. Looks like there's good news for renters. So if you've been renting and you've been consistently paying your rent and you've been paying your rent on time, there might be lenders who will look at you positively. These are some of the positive changes that is coming about very, very soon. So if you are renting, don't worry because a lot of people ask me, hold on a second, I pay more rent than this. Why do you think this mortgage is not affordable for me? So you might not have that question in the future. Watch this space, there are changes happening here. So your bank may have an income multiple of say 4 times or 5 times, but your requirement might be 6 times. So it could vary. So mortgage brokers will know where to place your application and get you the result that works best for you. So you're self-employed and you have varying income. And how much can I borrow is a question I get all the time. Now, we've dealt with self-employed clients for years. Banks look at their track record mainly. So you might have ups and downs during that year, but banks will look at how well you perform over a year. And they might look at it over 2 or 3 years, depending on the bank. And they do understand, they're human too. They know how certain businesses work. So if you have unusual circumstances, it's always best to get advice from an advisor who knows how to handle these kind of areas because there are specialists out there who can help you. So should I use a solicitor recommended by the estate agent or should I use a solicitor recommended by the mortgage broker? It's totally down to you, the solicitor that you use, but just make sure that the solicitor has a very, very good track record. Go on to Google, go on to Trustpilot, look at the reviews that they have got and whether that meets your expectations. Because sometimes people go to free solicitors, but they end up spending money elsewhere because the solicitor hasn't been very efficient. Is it easy to get a mortgage for existing property or a new build property? The answer depends. It depends on the lender. Some lenders are very, very friendly towards new build properties, and with those, I think it's easier to get the mortgage. But with some lenders, they prefer existing properties. So the problem you have with new builds, it's like you buying a new car. So as soon as you buy a property, the value drops because people can buy a brand new property next to yours for the same price. So therefore, people will prefer buying a brand new compared to yours. So that's why the price will drop. So lenders might not be comfortable with that, but there are a lot of new lenders who have come up with special scheme for people buying new properties. And also, don't forget, when you buy new properties, sometimes the builder gives you certain incentives. So that could help you towards your deposit. So your deposit plus their deposit can help you with a bigger deposit, and the lender might like that circumstance. So what happens if you lose your job after getting your mortgage offer, but before completing on your house? Now here, you got to be very honest. You need to inform the bank that your circumstances has changed, because they might withdraw the offer. They are giving you a mortgage offer on that special condition. So if you fail to disclose, you might be in trouble. So therefore, you need to make sure you disclose this to the bank. Yes, it might not be in your best interest, but let the bank assess it and let them tell you. Because if they do pull out the offer, it's probably for your own best, because they might not be comfortable lending to you and see you go through difficulty later.